Good evening. If you're joining us for the Laytonsville Local Park community meeting, we're just going to go ahead and get started in about um, just a couple minutes as we let folks trickle in. All right. We'll uh, we'll go ahead and get started here. Um, my name is Evan Dinteman. I am the project manager for Laytonsville Local Park Playground Renovation Project. Um, Tonight we've got a little bit of a presentation to get through, and then we will have Q&A for anybody who has questions about the project. Um, First, I wanted to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. Wanted to introduce Montgomery Park's team members that are on the call with us tonight. So from the Park Development Division, we've got Tricia McManus. My name is Evan Dinteman, and Andrew Sarcinello is also joining us tonight. From our Public Affairs and Community Partnerships, we have Melissa Chotner and Michelle Ramirez. And then from our Northern region, we have Jeff Brightwell, David Quintanilla, Kirby Prince, and Jeff Grimes. So just some housekeeping. This presentation is being recorded and it will be posted to the project website. The link is here. You can also quickly go onto Google and just Google Laytonsville Local Park playground renovation, and you will find the website. During the presentation, at any time, please enter questions or comments about the project by clicking on the Q&A box at the upper right of your screen. You can see what the Q&A box looks like, that little, symbol there. After the presentation, please fill out the open town hall survey. If you have not filled out the survey at this time, the survey is currently open, so you're welcome to fill it out at any time, and I believe it will stay open through the end of the month at least, but I'm sure we can add to the chat the date that the survey will be open through. Our agenda for tonight, first we're going to talk about the playground renovation program here at Montgomery Parks. Then we will look at Laytonsville Local Park specifically and talk about the scope of work for this project. We'll look at some playground equipment examples, and then we'll have an open question and answer. So first, our playground renovation program. So play has a lot of benefits for children, and we have a lot of playgrounds here in Montgomery Parks, and we, take great pride in our playground program. And play is a fundamental part of child's lives. It enhances physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and sensory development. And children learn, explore, manipulate their environments, and interact with each other through play. So, play is a really important part of growth and development. And so it's a really important undertaking when we design and open a new playground. Here in Montgomery Parks, we have 275 playgrounds within the park system. Each of those is inspected monthly by a certified playground safety inspector. We have a few of our safety inspectors on the call with us tonight. If there are any questions relating to playground safety, comprehensive renovations are made through the Playground Renovation Capital Improvement Program, and the playgrounds in the current schedule for replacement are at the end of their useful life. So the life cycle of a playground is approximately 20 years. That can vary. It can vary a bit based on materials and location and how heavily used the equipment is. And the average cost for a local playground renovation and replacement, like the one here at Laytonsville, is about $450,000. Montgomery Parks currently renovates about 5 to 6 playgrounds a year, and based on our number of playgrounds, 275, that equates to a 46-year life cycle across the county. So a little bit longer than the average life cycle of a playground. Um, there are approximately 135 playgrounds in the park system that are over 20 years old. The playground at Laytonsville is one of those. I believe it might actually be over 30 years old. When we look at what playgrounds we are going to renovate, we use a criteria to prioritize renovations. So first, the condition rating is an important criteria. We look at each playground and give it a condition rating. Next, we look at the age of the play structure. Again, we are looking at the materials. Wood play structures, tend to maybe not have the longevity of some of the newer materials. So, wood playgrounds are usually up for replacement more quickly. And then our inspectors can also prioritize playgrounds for replacement. Say there's no parts longer in stock, or it's become dangerous, or it's in a hazardous location. That way we can, prioritize those playgrounds. And then last but certainly not least, equity, making sure that we are renovating playgrounds across the county, all corners of the county, in an equitable way. So I think this might be my last slide on our playground program, but we wanted to talk about code compliance safety standard. While there is not a federal playground safety law, most states, including Montgomery Parks, enforce playground safety as a standard of care. We do follow here at MNCPPC Montgomery Parks the following guidelines and standards. CPSC is the Consumer Product Safety Commission. ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act. ASTM is the American Society for Testing of Materials. And then IPEMA is the International Playground Equipment Manufacturers Association. So the process for the project that we're just beginning tonight is hopefully going to be a fairly smooth process where we can, get some design concepts developed, share them with the community, work on construction documents, and hopefully go to construction sometime in the winter or spring of next year. So tonight we're meeting, doing our community meeting, then we'll begin design, get some concepts together and share those on the webpage, possibly with like another little video, and then get permits and do construction drawings and go to construction. So Laytonsville Local Park, this is just a quick aerial map with some diagrams showing what currently exists in the park. I was reviewing some of the responses to the survey that have already come in, and it sounds like this park is a little bit unknown. It does kind of sit tucked back off of Brink Road. And I do encourage community members to go visit the park if you haven't yet, and check out what's there. But just to kind of get everybody refamiliar, the white dashed line there is the approximate park boundary. The blue dashed lines are pedestrian paths. In the orange, that's the parking and entry. So that's kind of the asphalt vehicular paving that exists. There is a picnic pavilion up by the parking lot that's sort of separate from the rest of the park. The playground sits sort of in the middle of the park. That's shown in green. There's a basketball court, which is shown in red. And then at the southern end of the park, there are two fields, one for softball and then one for soccer. So the scope of work for our project is going to focus on this upper area near the parking lot. So you can kind of see on the left there that more zoomed out view. And then when we zoom in on the study area, you can see we're mainly going to be looking at the area where the parking lot, the playgrounds, the basketball, and the shelter are located. So these are some existing photos from the park. These were taken just before fall, so not terribly long ago. You can see the existing picnic pavilion is in good shape, but it's disconnected from the rest of the park. So we feel connecting it somehow to the playground and the pedestrian walkway would provide a better park experience, especially if folks want to use the playground while they're using the picnic pavilion. You can see on the right here, there's a path that comes from the parking lot down to the existing basketball court, but it's narrow. It's cracking and settling, and it does not meet ADA standards. In addition, the path does not serve any of the other amenities in the park. It really just serves the basketball court. So again, that court is a bit disconnected from the rest of the park. Here are some photos of the playground. Again, this is a playground that is certainly showing its age. The equipment is outdated, certainly needs updating. We're also starting to get some tree roots, which really love to find their way into that nice aerated soil and wood fiber that goes under the playgrounds. And then the wood edging on the playgrounds is also starting to deteriorate. Caregiver seating will be important to our new renovation. Currently, it's limited, and in some areas, it's aging or completely unusable. So seating will be important in the new design. So the proposed scope of work for the Laytonsville Local Park will be, as we discussed, a new playground. There'll be play equipment for ages 2 to 5 years old and ages 5 to 12 years old. We'll also have seating for caregivers. In addition, we plan to improve the parking lot. Currently, the ADA spaces are not to our standards. So we would like to improve the ADA parking spaces, improve access from the parking lot, and then add stormwater management to better treat rain runoff and stormwater runoff from the impervious surface. We'll also look to improve pedestrian access. Again, provide ADA access to all new amenities and provide additional connections between existing park amenities. And then we're also looking at some potential park amenity upgrades. When we talk about these potential upgrades, it'll be important to hear from the community what the community really wants to see as far as the playground, but also some potential other park amenities. So the open town hall survey is a great place to provide those comments. Tonight is a great time to ask questions and also provide comments. Again, use that chat function, Q&A button up in the right-hand corner to enter any questions or comments you may have. So we're also looking to potentially resurface the basketball court and improve court access. When we come in and we start to modify and renovate existing facilities, we are often required to upgrade accessibility. So bring those up to current standards, current ADA standards. So the basketball court will be one of those features that we want to get up to current ADA standard. We're also going to hopefully look to connect the existing shelter with the playground, and then potentially add some adult fitness equipment near the playground, and then also add some bike parking near the parking lot. So if any of those possible ideas, ring in your ear, then please let us know. So as we've mentioned, some typical components of a playground renovation include protective surfacing. Currently, there is engineered wood fiber, which many call mulch, and it will probably be the new protective surfacing, new engineered wood fiber in the new playground. There'll be an accessible route into the playground, separated activities for ages 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. A mixture of activity types, seating for parents and caregivers, and then maintenance access for our maintenance team. So now we're going to look at some equipment examples for the two different age groups, just to kind of get everybody thinking about what they might like to see in the playground. When you're filling out that survey, when you're asking questions tonight, feel free to let us know what you'd like to see in both the 2 to 5 and the 5 to 12 play elements. So some 2 to 5 elements that are pretty common are enclosed swings, simple slides, things like balancing and spinning activities, simple bridges, interactive and imaginary play, easy climbers. So here are some photos of what some of those 2 to 5 activities may look like. You can see in the top row, you've got spinning activities, a really simple slide, a bouncing and spinning activity in the upper right. Down on the bottom row, you have an enclosed swing, which are pretty popular, spring toys, and then some climbing and balancing activities. On the top row here, you can see some more balancing activities and places for kids 2 to 5 to crawl, and also have interactive play and engage with others through multi-user play. Down on the bottom, you've got an example of like a climber, but also somewhere that can be imaginative play. And then some more climbing examples in the bottom right. So ages 5 to 12 is when we can start getting higher and creating some more complex, climbers and slides. So you'll see traditional belt swings in 5 to 12-year-old playgrounds. You'll see more challenging slides, cable walks, towers, and horizontal climbers. You'll see a lot more spinning activities and track rides. So some examples here, on the top row, you'll see a track ride. This is a really cool climber in the middle that actually spins while kids can climb it. Those have been really popular in some of our other playgrounds. You can see some cable walks and rope tunnels. The picture in the bottom middle is kind of elevated up on a tower, kind of transitioning between 2 different play structures with a rope tunnel, and then some other spinning activities in the bottom left. Here are some more climbers. There are a wide variety of climbers available these days, and kids really love to engage with them. You can see on the bottom left, there's a rope climber, and then, or sorry, on the top left, there's a rope climber, and then on the top right, you've got some horizontal climbers and some other really cool, really cool climbers that the kids can really interact with. Equipment color choice is also something that the community really likes to weigh in on, and we'd love to have input on colors. So you're welcome to share those ideas tonight or on the open town hall survey. Some communities want really bright, vibrant, neon and other bright colors. Other communities like warm colors like reds and oranges. And then some communities like really natural tones, browns, grays, tans, or cool colors like you see in the photo here, greens, blues. So if the community has a strong opinion on equipment color, we'd love to hear it. So now's the time. If you haven't had a chance yet, please enter any questions you have about this park, about the playground renovation, or the other amenities in the Q&A box, or feel free to go to the open town hall and let us know, what are your priorities for activities? What types of play equipment do you want to see? Are there other playgrounds nearby or even in the region, maybe in another state, that have equipment and features that you and your children find interesting? Are there play themes, a castle theme, a sailboat theme, pirate theme, something that really interests you? And then again, what colors do you prefer for new play equipment? And again, the link to our open town hall is listed here, but it's also on the project webpage. If you weren't on earlier, our project webpage is really easy to find. You can just go to Google or any other search engine, type in the park name and playground renovation, and it should be one of the first 2 links. So the next steps are first, we're going to collect community feedback. So we're doing that tonight through this presentation. This presentation will also be posted, I believe, on YouTube, but the link will be on the project webpage. And in the coming month, we'll be collecting more feedback through the open town hall survey. Once we have all the community's feedback, we'll begin to develop concepts. So those concepts will hopefully be posted in the next 3 to 4 months on the project webpage. We may even record a little presentation video like the one we're doing tonight to share those concepts. And then the community will have a chance to weigh in. Once we decide on a concept, we can move into permitting and construction drawings. And again, we're hoping about a year from now, maybe a little bit longer, we'll be discussing construction and starting to break ground on the new amenities at Laytonsville. So this is my last slide before we enter the Q&A. So if you have a question or a comment, please take a moment now to put it up in the Q&A box, and we'll do Q&A here in a few minutes. But again, my contact information, I'm Evan Dinteman. I'm the project manager for this project. You're welcome to email me or reach out with a phone call. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any additional information to anybody in the community. We also have a project website. The link is here. Again, you can do a quick Google search and find that as well. If you have general questions about the park system or any maintenance requests, please contact customer service. The phone number is listed here. The email address is also listed here. And then for any safety concerns, we often have folks, saying we don't feel safe in a specific park, or there's been, instances of unwanted activities in our parks. We request that all of those be reported to Park Police. So obviously you can call the number here, but for immediate safety concerns, please call 911 when you're in the park, and you can get a really quick response that way. If there are any kind of long-term safety concerns with this park, you're welcome to share them here or on the Open Town Hall survey, and we can do our best to address them through the design. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Tricia McManus. And she is going to lead the Q&A session.
Okay, thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
I'm Tricia McManus, our design section manager. And as Evan mentioned previously, our project team is on the call and we'll work together to address, your questions and comments. So please, I only see a few in there so far. Add anything that's on your mind and we'll go through that. Our team includes Andrew Sarcinello, who's our project engineer. We have Jeff Brightwell, who is our Northern Region operations manager for all the Northern Region parks. We have David Quintanilla, our park manager for this specific park. Kirby Prince, who is our manager for the Northern Region playground operations. And we have Jeff Grimes, who is the playground safety inspector for this particular park. So what I'd like to do is we go through questions, and if we don't have a lot of questions in the chat, I see a few that we can talk about, but I think we can also maybe talk about some of the feedback we've gotten on the open town hall so far. But what I'm going to do is sort of go through an order and then direct the questions and the issues to those on our team I think might best be able to address them. But I am asking all of our team to please just jump in if you have comments or about any of the questions or issues that we're talking about. So I'm going to start with Marnie has mentioned an example of a really cool feature for older kids is the tower at Pleasant View Park in Gaithersburg. So I'd like to ask Jeff Grimes and Kirby, are you familiar with this tower? Is it, that's a great comment. We'd love to see it. And I see a link put in there already to that park, but is our team, Evan and others, familiar with this tower? But yeah, that's something
I'm not, but I would love to do a site visit there. I'm I'll be excited to go out and visit that park and check out that tower. So thank you for that comment.
Anybody on our operations team familiar with that park? It maybe is not our park, but it looks like it's the City of Gaithersburg Park. Does anyone know that park?
I'm familiar with the park's location, but I'm not familiar with the tower.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll take a look at that. And that sounds like a great feature to look at. And Jim has a comment about accessibility to the park by walkers. And I did see that in the open town hall. There were questions about whether there's a way to cross that busy Brink Road to get to the park. I don't know if this is exactly what Jim's talking about, but there is a sidewalk trail. It looks like the typical county trail on the opposite side of the road. And for people who are trying to get to the park, what is the easiest way to get to the park? And I know that, any road crossings, Brink Road is a county road. So any crossings would be the purview of the Montgomery County Department of Transportation. Our purview is the park itself, but and typically, when the county or the DOT, provides crossings, they would be at, road intersections or traffic lights. And, the nearest ones here are, I think it's Woodfield and maybe Laytonsville Road, which is still quite a ways away, and there's no sidewalk on our side of Brink Road. So I'm not sure if our team has any thoughts about this, but I think we could inquire, from
Yeah,
DOT about if there's any possibility of crosswalks. I think it's unlikely that we would get a mid-block crossing on such a
right.
busy road, and especially with no sidewalk on the other side. But we'd be happy to reach out to DOT and see what they
Yeah.
say about it.
I
Do you
was
have
thinking
any?
I could talk to our Vision Zero, representatives here at Montgomery Parks and just see what they would think about it as well.
Mhm.
So Vision Zero, the county's initiative to make pedestrian and vehicular travel much more safe. So um, it's a great comment. I totally see the need, but as Tricia says, it could be difficult given the all the scenarios on such a busy road. But
Mhm.
we can certainly look into it.
Evan,
And
I'd like to add that it does appear um, from some satellite imagery that there is a pedestrian access directly across from Goshen's Edge Court that connects to the county bikeway. So Goshen's Edge Court, it may, if we investigate that, it may actually butt up to the commission property at Laytonsville Local Park, right in the parking lot. So it may be an option that we wouldn't have to worry about sidewalks through front yards if we could go down Goshen's Edge Court and then into the park. So it may be feasible, but it would definitely take some planning on our part and some investigation with working with DOT.
oh,
That's a great
great.
comment. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, for adding that. Um, and Jim, if there's other, thoughts that you had, please, or specific ideas that you had, please please continue to put your thoughts in the Q&A. Oh, there, you do have another um, issue about lighting in the park. And Jeff or David, I'm not sure. I don't believe this park is lighted. Is that correct? We typically, our parks are closed at dark, and we typically don't light local parks unless there are specific facilities that are lighted. Do you have comments about that? I'm going to ask our operations team.
You are correct. It's not lighted. And if I could, I would rather keep it like that.
Just because we are trying not to encourage use at night, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We did get some comments that, Evan, I'd maybe ask you to address. You know, we did get comments in the open town hall about pickleball, and that people really like the pickleball courts at Sundown Road Local Park. And could we provide pickleball here?
Yeah, I did see quite a few comments. For those who aren't aware, Sundown Road Local Park just got some new pickleball courts. I believe there are 4 courts there that are on 2 existing tennis courts, and they are lighted, so they are available for play after dark. My guess is the reason that we've received some of those comments is that the Sundown Road pickleball courts are very popular. But, you know, I talked with our planning staff, our park planning staff, who, you know, are the ones that kind of vet parks for different amenities. And pickleball is an amenity that needs to go in a very, you know, kind of specific location due to the noise and the heavy use it's going to see. So we, you know, Laytonsville was not selected as a park that's suitable for pickleball, and that's because there are some residences that are closer than our, you know, standard distance um, to make pickleball a suitable amenity. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be able to include pickleball courts in Laytonsville Local Park, but we are looking to update the basketball court and provide some additional amenities. So hopefully, the folks that are interested in pickleball are still engaged in the project and excited about the additional amenities and upgrades at Laytonsville. And then I encourage you to, you know, visit Sundown Road. We just opened some new purpose-built pickleball courts at Columbia Local Park. I know it's a bit of a drive, but it's a beautiful facility and lots of people there playing pickup games. So there are a lot of courts that we're opening. If you just visit our website and search pickleball, you can see all the new courts we've opened. So I encourage you to kind of see what's out there and find some, you know, some courts to play on. So hopefully that answers the question, Tricia.
No, that's great, Evan. And I did just put in the chat the link to our website on pickleball. So there's a lot of FAQs there. It's got lists of places where we do have pickleball courts and potential future projects, and also links to Montgomery County Recreation Department's website and their, you know, pickleball facilities as well. So that link is in the chat. We did, you know, and okay, Jim's got a comment that there could be an emergency call button included in the park, or I'm not sure if there's one there already. Is anyone aware of that? Or this is maybe
I don't
this was
believe there's, I
yeah.
don't believe there's one in the park currently. I don't think there's electrical service in this park, but I could
Okay.
be, I guess I could be mistaken, but I don't think our survey turned up any electrical service. But Jim, if there's a specific, you know, issue or reason, if there's been other things in the past, from a safety perspective, you know, we'd certainly like to know the history of the community's you know, experiences in the park. So, you know, if you want to comment here, that's fine. You could also shoot us an email or comment anonymously on the open town hall survey, but we'd love to hear about any safety concerns in the park.
And we can direct those concerns to park police.
Yes.
They also have records of calls, you know, that have been made, calls for assistance within the park, and we don't, you know, we don't have a representative from park police on tonight. They couldn't make it, but they can easily run a report and we can see what kind of activity is going on in the park. But I'd ask our team, our operations team, if you're aware of any specific security issues we have going on there. David and Jeff.
I have not received any complaints or concerns, emails or calls related to safety.
Yeah, I concur. I have not received anything directly related to Laytonsville Local Park from Park Police.
Okay, and Jim has a great comment about surfacing of the playground, that the engineered wood fiber, is not a good surface for disabled children. And I know that we do use the engineered wood fiber surfacing for about 90% of our playgrounds. It is, and that's a good point, that it's not easy for kids with wheelchairs. But we do use rubber surfacing or poured in place surfacing in specific playgrounds where that surfacing type would be beneficial, or parks that receive exceptionally high use, or that maybe provide programs for special populations. But I would just go out front and say the main reason that we don't use more of that surfacing is cost. That surfacing doesn't last very long, and we just don't have, as Evan was saying, the life cycle of our playgrounds is so far beyond, so far beyond the life cycle with the equipment. The poured in place surfacing has a much shorter lifespan, and we really don't have the funding to replace it sooner. But I'd like to ask our playground staff, Kirby and maybe Jeff Grimes, your thoughts about the playground surfacing. I know that there are also some maintenance concerns as well. I think it's, when we talk with our staff and say we have to make changes in the playground, like change out pieces of equipment, the engineered wood fiber is it's a recyclable material, and it makes it a little bit easier to replace equipment if we need to, because we have that loose surfacing. But I'd like to ask other members of our team any thoughts you would want to add about the engineered wood fiber. There's no one good answer for what's, for the playground surfacing issues, but it's a hard question to answer, and we get it all the time. Are there other members of our team who want to add to that?
Good evening, Patricia. I think with the engineered wood fiber, it does require less resources to reestablish the fall zones and build up the material. With the pour and play, it does require a lot more maintenance effort on our end to make repairs. Sometimes we do have to contract that out to get the contractor to come in and make those repairs if they're extensive. I do understand Jim's concern, as the wood fiber is very difficult for wheelchairs to get through, to move around in, especially. I'm not sure if there's a way to do kind of both. I know the Miracle Playground up at South Germantown employs both pour and play and wood fiber. That might be an option.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kirby. And we are about to embark on a larger master plan for all of our playgrounds, to be more deliberate on where we're providing specifically designed playgrounds that are meant to be fully inclusive, and how we can distribute them throughout the county. so we are going to take a broader look at what we have, what we think we need, how we can distribute different types of facilities. But that's an excellent point, Jim. And we're struggling, we have a new overall playground program manager for the park system. And that's sort of one of the issues that we're putting forward to look at in a more holistic way throughout the county. So thank you for that comment. And it's always a difficult question to address. And Kirby's comment about we do that in some playgrounds as well, whereas we combine surfacing to provide accessibility to equipment, like to where you get on and where you get off. And we're trying to get smarter about how we design these playgrounds as well to make them more accessible. So that's an excellent point. I was also thinking, if this team could go through some of the comments we got on the open town hall, but keep putting questions and comments in the Q&A. But we did get some comments, I think, about there were a few people who would like a zip line in the playground. I saw the towers. I think that Marnie mentioned that there were some comments that people would like towers. And Evan, if you saw other things in the open town hall that of what people would like to see in the playground that we could maybe talk about a little bit. And I want to get our whole team, like Jeff Grimes, if you have anything to add, and Kirby, about what kind of play equipment, what do you think about zip lines and towers, and any specific issues we have with different types of equipment that we'd want to share.
Yeah, I would say that as far as a zip line, anything with the cable on it wears very, very quickly. If it's more of a track ride, kind of like the Sky Run from Game Time, which is like a trolley system on wheels, that's probably more suitable for the local parks. The cruise lines from Southeast only, we've had multiple issues with those.
Okay, so it's a matter of what kind of products we might choose that could provide that kind of activity.
Correct.
And okay. And Marnie, if you have any other questions and comments and about play equipment, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A. Some other just broader questions about the parks about the park that I saw was there was a comment about potentially, I'm seeing some more in here, but I'll just go to this one issue and come back to what's going on in the chat. But I did see a comment about, and this isn't related to what we're specifically doing with the playground area, but there was a comment suggesting a need for more seating at the ball fields. And I'm wondering if David could perhaps address whether that, David or Jeff Brightwell, whether that could be a possibility with some of the other just minor improvements we might be able to make to the park.
And I'm happy to speak to it too. And then I'll let the others kind of chime in. But there is aging seating sort of all through the park. There's some picnic style tables down by the fields that are wood and certainly showing their age. There are some bench styles, seating, some bench seating that's wood, similar to what's in the playground down by the fields as well. Personally, I think it's certainly achievable to switch out the wood bench seating and the picnic table seating for some, upgraded, probably metal, more durable seating options. So that's something that's certainly on my radar, not just at the playground, but kind of bringing the seating throughout the park up to standard. I'm not sure what's going on down by the soccer field, since that's not really in our scope. But maybe David or Jeff or somebody could kind of weigh in on what's happening down there. But hopefully that sort of starts to answer the question, Tricia.
Okay, that's good. I'm throwing it out there if there are things we know we need, or things that might be reasonable to accommodate. Okay.
I agree with Evan. We just purchased some nice metal picnic tables that are coated. So I'm sure they're long-lasting picnic tables. As far as the seating around the field, I don't know, a bleacher or a couple bleachers, probably if space allows. And around the soccer field, maybe a couple of those regular benches, aluminum. That would be great.
Okay. Thanks. I see some additional questions here. Hamid is talking about vegetation, and that we should use native vegetation and plants where appropriate. Evan, I know, the playground we have a lot of trees around the playground. What are our thoughts about planting, like both shade and trees, which everybody always wants around playgrounds, although sometimes there's a need to, open up views as well. But what are our thoughts with respect to this project on planting and trees, and if we're having any bioretention areas, would those be planted? And maybe Andrew could chime in on that as well with what we might be doing for stormwater management.
Yep. I'll start, and then if Andrew wants to add that'd be great. So, currently the playground is sort of tucked down in a grove of trees, sort of separate. There's a playground on one side of the path, and then another playground on the other side of the path. I think we'll probably look to move the playground up towards the parking lot. Nothing set in stone yet, but there is an area that's more open up towards the parking lot with some existing trees that we can kind of work around. But wherever we move the playground, we will be planting shade trees, nearby and strategically positioning them to try to catch sun at different parts of the day, to shade the playground. As far as native perennials and introducing other native plants to the park, our bioretention facilities and our stormwater facilities give us a really unique area to do some very nice native plantings. And so, at this park, we don't know exactly what will be required to provide at this point. We'll do some geotechnical investigation to see if we have infiltration, which is, soils that percolate and allow stormwater to drain. If we do, we could do infiltration both under the playground and potentially in other stormwater facilities. And if we are able to provide stormwater facilities, they'll most likely be adjacent to the parking lot to be able to catch runoff off the impervious surface. And then we'll be planting those with native perennials, grasses, and other native plants. So hopefully that answers your question. And then as far as stormwater goes, maybe Andrew can chime in. There's actually a really unique kind of aged stormwater feature in the park currently. If you're familiar with the park, you might see this big, concrete sort of inlet at the end of the parking lot. And actually that inlet is an old stormwater facility. And we are proposing to hopefully remove that, big concrete stormwater facility and install instead the infiltration or the bioretention facilities that I mentioned that are planted, which I think will be a really nice facelift and look really nice and also function really well. So I don't know if Andrew, if you want to just chime in and talk about what we might be able to achieve as far as stormwater management. Maybe not, we don't need to go into detail, but maybe just kind of high level what our goals would be.
Yeah, so our goals with the stormwater management, like you said, there's an outdated feature there. It's a oil and grit separator. And you typically see those around like gas stations. But for some reason, the state had one installed there at some point. And we've gotten the green light to remove it and basically replace it with better options like bioretention, which, as you said, we can landscape with the native plants. And by doing that, we can help. Parks has an MS4 permit, which is basically just a requirement under the law to treat as much pollution from our runoff as possible. So we have really good opportunity to further that goal at this park.
Great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about, I mean, are we going to be doing the stormwater management? I mean, sometimes we do stormwater management under the playground surface. Are we thinking of that here as well as an
I
option?
believe we are. Feel free to correct me, Evan. But I haven't, really been on the playground side of things in park very much. So I'm not
Yeah.
not
So
100% sure. Yeah.
yeah. So if we get either way, we're going to treat the rainfall that runs or that falls into the playground. If we have infiltration rates, which means water will percolate into the ground under the playground, then we can allow the water to infiltrate right back underneath the playground. Sometimes we'll pipe the water into an adjacent facility. So we'll pipe the water from under the playground into an adjacent facility so we can slow it down and treat it. So we will, we'll be treating the water one way or the other. We just have to look at those geotechnical investigations and figure out what we can do. So I know the comment or the question was planting. We've kind of gone off, but hopefully that's some good background for the community member who asked.
Right. And I'm also trying to just address, aspects of the project that people might be interested in, since there aren't a lot of questions. So I'm just, want to provide as much information as we can about what we plan to do and what the project might include. So, not everybody knows what questions to ask, but I just thought it would be good to share what we're thinking about this park and some of the issues that we typically deal with. And Jim does have another comment about the town of Laytonsville has walkable trails, and it would be great to have the parks at Laytonsville Local and Sundown connected directly to the town, which it does sound like it would be great, but that is, well beyond our project here. It would be, I'm guessing it would be along Brink Road, connecting, larger connections to longer destinations. But I mean, I suppose we could bring that thought up to DOT as we're asking about the crossings and connections as well. So any other thoughts on that, Evan?
No, I mean, it's certainly something we can bring up. I can talk to our, well, first of all, we can look at kind of the plan for the county and see if there are any long-term goals for connections. And then we can kind of look to at least recommend that to some folks. It won't, be a part of this project, but certainly we can pass that thought along.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Yeah. And our park system, we're always making as many connections as we can within our park system, especially to neighborhoods and adjacent communities. We have a pretty robust trail system. Feel free to, check that out online. But I can certainly pass those comments along.
Okay. Any other comments people have, please type them in, and I'm just going to ask our team, any members of our team, if there's other, or if, I guess if, Evan, there are any other issues you recall from the open town hall feedback we've received so far, and or any comments our team members want to make about specific issues that they deal with the park, whether it's the playground or other aspects of the park and maintenance. So I just want to make sure we take the time we have to share any issues and thoughts the team has. And then if there are no further questions, we can close the meeting. But I just want to make sure everyone has a chance to add any other thoughts that you have. And if there are other comments we've been hearing through the open town hall that we might need to address.
Patricia,
Go ahead, Kirby. Yeah.
just have a question for you. Will you be utilizing concrete for the barriers around the playground and eliminating the wooden timbers?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And yes, we plan to use concrete, like concrete curbing around the playground. So currently the playground in the park has the wood timber edging. You'll see that in a lot of our older playgrounds and some of our newer playgrounds. But getting more popular within our park system is concrete curb edging. And because we plan to update the parking spaces, the ADA parking spaces, they'll be in concrete. We'll be putting some new concrete walkways in that are ADA accessible adjacent to the playground. We'll likely be doing some asphalt repairs to other portions of the park. So since we'll have concrete in and around the construction site already, we will likely go ahead and pour the edging in concrete. No, so that's a great question and probably something the community would be interested in as well. I can add something that I think I saw in the open town hall. Currently the playground is split into two different sections, kind of disconnected across and down the pathway. The new playground will most likely be one larger space that is all connected, which will be broken up, with 2 to 5 play on one end and 5 to 12 play on the other end, and some transitional activities between. So as far as the size goes, we're probably looking somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 square feet. That might be hard for some folks to visualize, but what's out there currently is about a 1,500 square foot area and then about a 2,500 square foot area for a total of about 4,000 square or 4,000 square feet. So we'll actually be expanding the footprint of the playground a bit and making it more connected. So if you do have children of, 2 different age groups, they'll all be in one location. So I think that'll be a nice improvement as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Evan. And Hamid was asking again, how long until the playground is expected to open? So when do we think we'll have it rebuilt and open?
Yeah, so, we're at the start of the process right now. So there can be some speed bumps along the way, especially with permitting and getting approvals through all of our different county agencies. However, I like to move these projects pretty quickly. We know that once we tell a community about them, they're very excited about it. Personally, I like to kind of try to stick to the timelines I set. So, I'd love to be breaking ground on this project a year or 15 months from today, which would mean we're looking at construction in, let's say, early winter of 2026, So like January, February 2026 with an opening date of like spring 2026. So when the weather starts getting nice in April and kids are really wanting to just be outside, the days are getting longer. I really hope we'll have a new playground in place. So keep tabs on the website, Hamid. Hopefully I got your name right. Keep tabs on the website. We'll be keeping the schedule updated. So you can kind of check in on the website and feel free to email me, shoot me a phone call. I can keep you updated on the timeline as well.
And just as a reminder, Evan, the next steps is we're going to take the feedback that we received tonight and from the open town hall, and you're going to develop a concept plan. We'll have all of our staff look at it, and then we will post it to the website, and request send out notification to the community, and another probably survey or for comments. So when are we thinking that? And then we'll incorporate those comments into the final design. So when are we thinking we'll have that concept? We were targeting
I
maybe
think about
spring?
3 months. Yeah, I think
Okay,
about
okay.
3 months. So March, March or April, we'll be able to share those. It might be one concept, it might be two, depending how aligned the community is. But yeah, we're excited about this project. So hopefully you
Okay.
guys stay engaged.
Okay, great.
So any other questions on the chat, Tricia?
I'm not seeing any, and I do want to let people know that, well, thank you, those who have joined us. We really appreciate oh, Jeff, did you have something to say? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Tricia. I noticed on the Open Town survey, there were some comments related to better signage, and also some comments that people didn't even recognize that the park was there. So I do believe that there are some options that we can investigate, we being the commission, to try to increase the visibility of the existing signage that's on site. We do have a brown and white entrance sign, but it sits back quite a ways off of the road, off of Brink Road. And with the speed, you can fly right by that entrance and not know it's there. So I'm going to take it upon myself to try and get creative and work with some of my contacts with Montgomery County DOT and possibly see if we can get some signage, roadway signage, small directional signage, just to let the public know, that there is a park facility here. Our existing brown and white sign, we can't push it too much further out towards Brink Road because of the sightline issues and traffic coming in and out of the park. But I do agree that there are some ways that if we get creative, that we can better communicate to the public that a park is here and that it's a nice facility and it's a safe facility, and it's a facility that we would welcome our patrons to use.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I did see those comments, and yeah, anything we can do to make it more visible, Jeff, we'll work together on some of those ideas. But thanks for bringing that up.
And anybody else on our team? Okay.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I just wanted to let people know that we will follow up and post the meeting recording and the presentation slides on the webpage. And again, if you haven't been on the open town hall, please take the survey and provide your comments there. And also, if you have any additional questions, if you've already taken the survey and you have additional questions or comments you think of later, or if we didn't, address an issue well enough tonight, please feel free to contact Evan directly. And also, before we close, I would like to acknowledge several other team members who've been with us, supporting us on the call, particularly Michelle Ramirez and Melissa Chotner from our Public Affairs Office. They help us with all these Zoom meetings and also with all of our public outreach and engagement. So they make sure things run smoothly. So I want to thank them for their support and thank the panel who's been with us tonight, and also all of you for taking time out to join us tonight. And so I will turn it back to Evan for any final comments that you have to close the meeting.
Great. Well, thanks everybody again for joining us tonight. If you have neighbors or others in the community that missed tonight, please, once we post this video to the project webpage, please share this video with them. They can email me, they can, go on the open town hall. And if you're on a community listserv, please feel free to share information with your community that way. Again, thanks for the time. Please stay updated with the website, and then also complete the open town hall. The open town hall link is on the project website. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to finishing this project and opening a beautiful new playground and park in Laytonsville. Have a great night. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.